I buried my husband 4 years ago. At least, that's what I believed. The funeral had been small. A closed casket. A police officer stood beside me while I signed papers I barely understood. They told me the fire had left almost nothing to identify except personal belongings and forensic evidence. I accepted it because grief doesn't bargain forever. Eventually, it simply runs out of questions. Life moved anyway. My son Noah was 6 when his father died. He was 10 when we boarded a flight to Florida for our first real vacation together. It had taken years before either of us could look forward to something without feeling guilty. Halfway through the flight, Noah stopped coloring. He leaned close enough that only I could hear. Mom, his voice had gone strangely quiet. Dad sitting 2 rows behind us. I smiled automatically. Honey, no. He swallowed hard. It's him. Something in his face made me turn. I wish I hadn't. 2 rows back sat a man reading a newspaper. Older, a little thinner. His beard had more gray than I remembered. But the way he held his left hand, the small scar beside his ear, the habit of rubbing his wedding finger while thinking, my heartbeat became so loud I couldn't hear the engines. He looked up. For one impossible second, our eyes met. Recognition flashed across his face. Then he looked away. When the plane landed, I didn't rush toward him. If grief had taught me anything, it was that panic rarely uncovered truth. Instead, I watched. He waited until most passengers had left before standing. He kept his baseball cap low and walked quickly through the terminal without looking back. Noah whispered, "Why isn't Dad coming to us?" I didn't have an answer. Outside baggage claim, the man disappeared into the hotel shuttle line. I memorized the logo on the bus. Our hotel happened to be only a few blocks away. That evening, I couldn't eat. Every memory I'd carefully packed away had burst open. The phone call from police, signing death certificates, selling our home because I couldn't bear living there. Teaching Noah how to ride a bicycle alone because his father never would. If that man truly was my husband, who had I buried? The next morning, I returned to the neighboring resort while Noah stayed in the children's activity center. I saw him near the pool. He noticed me immediately. Instead of surprise, his expression carried something worse: fear. He stood and walked away, not running, just refusing to stop. "I know who you are," I said quietly behind him. He froze. Without turning around, he answered, "You've mistaken me for someone else." His voice. 4 years hadn't changed it enough. "I don't think I have." He finally faced me. Pain crossed his face before disappearing behind practiced calm. "I'm sorry for whatever happened to your family." Then he walked inside the hotel. I followed only until security politely intercepted me. They listened patiently while I explained. I realized how unbelievable I sounded. "My dead husband is staying in your hotel." Even saying it aloud felt absurd. The security manager didn't dismiss me. He simply asked for photographs. I showed him wedding pictures. His expression shifted. "I'm going to contact local authorities," he said. That was the first moment someone else carried the weight of the situation. Hours later, detectives requested interviews. They compared identification records, surveillance footage, fingerprints, and old case files. Learned something I never expected. The man wasn't legally my husband. He was his identical twin brother, a brother my husband had hidden from nearly everyone after years of family estrangement. The fire years earlier had involved criminal fraud tied to stolen identities. During the chaos, records had been confused, assumptions had been made, and the investigation had closed around incomplete evidence. His brother had spent years living under heavy legal restrictions while cooperating with authorities. He had recognized me instantly on the plane but feared reopening wounds he believed had already healed. Weeks later, investigators officially reopened my husband's case. Some questions were finally answered. Others never were. No miracle brought my husband home. No dramatic reunion erased the funeral. The man on the airplane wasn't the life I'd lost. He was only proof that grief had been built upon an incomplete truth. When Noah asked me months later, "Was that really Dad?" I held his hand. "No," I said gently. But he reminded us that sometimes the hardest part isn't losing someone. He looked up at me. It's learning that even after the truth arrives, your heart still has to catch up. For the first time in years, neither of us cried, we simply kept walking.